the next section, we want to see what rules Google uses to connect the search a user performs with the search term and keyword we have set in the background and how it matches them together to decide whether this specific keyword should trigger or not. Guys, to understand this topic, we need to look into a concept called match type. Match type is defined in 3 areas. Please write these down. One is keyword match type. Another is negative keyword match type. And the last one is search match type. Guys, what I need to tell you about this is that although all these match types are set correctly, the definition of these match types, A in search, A in negative, and in broad match, in keywords is different. And even their performance differs from each other. Therefore, what I ask of you is to keep these distinctions clear in your mind, to separate search match types, keyword match types, and negative keyword match types in your mind. We want to define each one in its own place. When you go to the keywords and want to analyze them, they're considering the concept of keyword match types. We encounter it when we go into the search report. We analyze it there with the concept of search match type. And when we are dealing with negative keywords, we approach it with the perspective of how match types are functioning in negatives. All right, let's move on to the next stage, guys. So, we actually named these 3 match types to understand what they are. First of all, I want to introduce keyword match types. So now write a heading in your notebook. Keyword match types. This image you are seeing is actually for keyword match types. But it was before June 2022. So, why did I put this here considering the old criteria? The reason is that if you come across an account that is an account that has been worked on before and, for example, contains broad match modifiers, you need to know how to handle this. You need to know what BMMs are, what their function was, and what they have become now. For those who want to work on new campaigns, naturally one of these cases is the broad match modifier, which is no longer available. I explained the reason to you. Guys, in the new keyword match types, you practically have only 3 match types. One is exact match, one is phrase match, and one is broad match. The point is that the broad match modifier, which you now see here with a green circle, has been completely removed from the keyword match types and is no longer going to work. I will explain what happens next. Just know that this chart you are looking at now, which is drawn in a circular manner, refers to the old match types, meaning the old ones. Now right next to it, so you don't forget, what now? There is no longer anything called a broad match modifier, and we don't have such a thing anymore. So why did I mention this, guys? So that you can have it in your mind. In the middle, where in broad match, we can get more input, keep it in your mind. Look, exact match is at the center, for example, the story. Then a larger circle is phrase match itself, up to an even larger circle. Broad match modifier, or in parentheses. BMM, broad match modifier, is placed, and in the larger circle, we have broad match. Okay, guys? Let's focus on these 2 lines that are firmly on the left and right, please. On the right side, it becomes broad targeting, meaning the targeting is very widespread, large and cold, but right. The more you move towards exact, the sharper and more precise the targeting becomes. So, is exact better? No, don't get it wrong. Don't get it wrong. What I mean is that the precision of targeting in broad match is less, but it doesn't mean it's worse. No. I always give an example here. I say, remember in old movies, when they would go to the river with a pan and sift through the mud to find gold, bit by bit, like they showed during the slavery era. Guys, exactly. If you want to extract more gold, you need to have more mud, but it doesn't mean that your waste is higher here. Ultimately, it will be to your detriment. I'll teach you a technique on how to reduce that waste as well. What? But guys, in the end, it's not supposed to be 100% precise, but I say it can be 90% accurate. You know, more precise for yourself. Right here, together, I'll give you another example that will stick in your mind. Broad match is like a net. Phrase match is a smaller net. And finally, exact match is like fishing with a hook. You need to understand the differences between these together, okay? On the left side, when we are looking, we see it says highest reach, guys, lowest reach. It actually refers to the number of people you can potentially reach. Naturally, the bigger your net, the more fish you can probably catch with it. Conversely, the smaller the net, the fewer fish you can catch. So, we need to understand these concepts together as we move towards the outcome. And our keywords, naturally, become broader and will have a greater reach. For example, imagine casting a net for yourself. That net might catch crabs and other things as well. Or it might catch small fish, not just the fish that is your target. However, in any case, this can fulfill your need. It doesn't mean that this is good and that is bad. Or vice versa, that is bad and this is good. Well, what I'm saying is that the opposite is also true. Or that is good and this is bad. Well, what I mean is that you should settle it in your mind in such a way that, dear sir, the examples fit nicely in your mind. Now, we will talk about how to implement this, how to identify it, and I will tell you about all these aspects. Well, what happened to Google and how it practically went away? We will discuss this further together to address this issue. I just wanted to settle in your mind, but make sure to write it down in your notebook, that exact phrase for Google and broad, match modifier, and broad. Guys, what I want to talk about now, I categorize it into two main types as my shared keyword. It might be that by the time you are watching this video, this topic has changed, which I will explain to you now. Guys, I categorize the shared keyword into two categories for Persian words. So I don't forget about the shared keyword, meaning what we are blocking for Persian words, and we want to define the shared keyword for non-Persian words, okay? I will now explain the reason to you. Due to the change in Google's behavior and what has happened, for example, previously the shared keyword was based on the spelling of that word. But what has happened now? Now the bot is moving towards meaning it has become more semantic. When you are dealing with different shared keywords, the bot is actually presenting them to you, and it is leaning more towards their meanings. What is it that I am telling you now? But why did I match it? Because in Persian, due to the lesser understanding, its performance is still similar to the past. Well, not exactly similar. But in other languages, it has moved towards meaning, which is why I differentiated it, so that you can understand in your mind that from now on, if I'm using a keyword that is in Persian, how its performance will be, how it will operate. Guys, I'm telling you a sentence. Please write it down at this point. We recognize keyword match types and negative keyword match types by their appearance. So the first thing we learned now about match types. The second thing that should be noted, the second thing we learned now is that we recognize keyword match types and negative keyword match types by their appearance. So guys, I don't care at all about what is written elsewhere. To identify the match type of a keyword or a negative keyword, I only and only look at the keyword. or negative keyword itself to see what it looks like. Let's take a look. I'm making a lot of changes to the keyboard right now. I don't have anything to do with Persian or English. Guys, in every form, the exact phrase is broad, depending on how I look in different languages. It doesn't matter what they look like in different languages. Their actions are different in different languages. If you wrote it wrong, or I said it wrong, I'll confirm it. To determine what the match type of my keyword is, I only identify it by its appearance. However, how it actually functions in Persian or English is something we differentiate. We conceptualize it in our minds by saying, okay, that's a semantic discussion. Ona? And in Persian, it operates differently. We approach it accordingly. So, the first thing is that we need to identify the match type of our keyword, or negative keyword. I see these two together, or what from the appearance of the name. From its appearance, we determine what it is. Well guys, the appearance of an exact match, I have placed my keyword on the top line, and on the bottom line are the search terms that have the capability to trigger my keyword. Guys, you see the broad match has no symbol. It has no symbol. Well, what about the phrase match? Guys, do you see my phrase match keyword? What has happened to it? Guys, it has double quotation marks on both sides. Well, the phrase match keyword has double quotation marks on both sides. So I can't say, for example, assume this is the keyword and say, sir, this is a phrase. No, this is not a phrase. Its appearance shows me that this one is a broad match, and on our right side we see that it says exact. Guys, the keyword or negative keyword with exact match has brackets on both sides. Both sides of the keyword have brackets. Again, what am I deducing from? I am deducing from its appearance. And guys, the broad match modifier, just to give you an idea about it, the broad match modifier was similar to broad, but we would see some plus signs inside it. So in the broad match modifier, if you go to old accounts and look, if you see it, don't be surprised. This issue is not raised in negative keywords. Please note that the broad match modifier is only discussed within keywords and not in negative keywords. The keyword that generally looks like broad, and you see it attached to some words with plus signs. That was the broad match modifier. Well, now I'll tell you what it's like. In short, its function has now become similar to phrase match, but its appearance has remained the same. Well, you'll get more familiar with it as we go forward. Guys, I want to go to the pro keyword matches. Guys, this issue doesn't matter whether my language is English, Persian, I don't know, Arabic, Turkish, or any other language. No, it has nothing to do with this matter. Good matches. That appearance is the same in all of them. The exact match in all of them has a bracket symbol. The phrase match in all of them has double quotation marks, and the broad match has no symbol. To reiterate, guys, the broad match modifiers that existed before were only defined at the keyword level and not at the negative keyword level. It was only defined at the keyword level and not even at the negative keyword level. Okay, well, guys, now I want to explain how these operations work in Persian or other languages. Let's look at this together. I also want to introduce a new topic to you right now. Guys, write down the first one. Then let's look at it in Persian. The exact match and phrase match. Performance is closely related to the presence and frequency of our specific keyword terms in the content. This relationship is crucial for understanding how our keywords impact search results and overall visibility. In fact, it's our typing that plays a crucial role, meaning it's your typing that becomes important here. What does it mean again? Let's review it again, guys. Draw a circle. Let's see, between the search term and a search is done. You draw an arrow. It says checked with the keyword. What's being checked? I just told you guys, the first rule that is checked between the search term and the keyword or negative keyword to decide whether to fire or not, we called it match type. Okay? Now I want to see, sir, a search was done, a keyword fired, and a number is being displayed. What happened in between that caused this to fire? Actually, my question to you is, guys, which search terms have the ability to trigger our keyword in this match type? Which search terms have the ability to trigger our keyword in this specific match type? Okay. Guys, I want to emphasize again that in Persian, draw a line under it, highlight it so you don't make a mistake, please. When you give examples for yourself, when your keyword is washing machine repairman, without spaces, washing machine, with brackets on both sides, the first topic is what is the match type. The exact match type. Your keyword is exact. So now, how should it operate? Again, in Persian, I'm saying, guys, if the user search is exactly and only this keyword in this exact order and arrangement, less or more. This search term has the capability to trigger your keyword. Does it definitely get displayed? Guys, no, you are not necessarily going to get displayed 100%, okay? Well, guys, this is a learning experience that I've gone through, so pay close attention to it in your understanding. What's the difference between the user's search term repairman space dishwasher and the keyword repairman space dishwasher, dish, and washer are separated by a space, guys? Please write this down regarding the connection between them. In the event that there happens to be a spelling error or a minor typographical discrepancy in the search term you have entered and the keyword you are attempting to match, the system is designed to recognize and accommodate these small differences. This ensures that your search results remain accurate and relevant, even if there are slight variations in spelling or typing. For instance, if you accidentally type receive instead of receive, the system will still understand your intent and provide the correct results. The search term. In the closed variant, ujo mode. Guys, closed variant. Close variant has the ability to fire Jippo, the keyboard. What does that mean? It means, what is Google saying? It says, sir, this user's search or the second search has a slight difference with your keyboard, and this was the same. A typo has been made. And I learned and understood that these two are the same. Where does it learn from? Guys, do you remember when you used to search for Farsi? Lakh lams. Google would suggest to you, did you mean Gagla? How did it understand? From the fact that many users, after searching for this, would go and Search for Google. Well, this repetitive behavior is what Google learns from and understands that it should predict or suggest. Sir, did you mean this? The close variant automatically does this for you. So if your user has a typo, there's no need to add a new keyword for them. Hoydum, that's the conclusion. Guys, underline the keyword, because when we go into negative view, it might get mixed up. There's no need to add a new keyword for it. Okay. And it has the capability to be filed. So let me review, guys. Search terms can trigger your exact keyword only if the exact same keyword is searched in the same order, neither less nor more. In parentheses, a slight spelling difference like a space, etc. is acceptable. Now, phrase match in Persian. Again, emphasize its Persian version. Don't make a mistake, guys. Suppose your keyword is dishwasher repairman. First of all, how did I know that this dishwasher repairman is a phrase from these two double quotations? I recognized it from the appearance, okay? Now I want to check and see what search terms can trigger this. Ladies and gentlemen, please remember that when your keyword is in Persian, kiki, and the matches are behind the phrase, write down the points. And 1, typing is very important for us. 2, close variants are extremely acceptable. For example, if the task is with a space in my keyword and it's acceptable together in the shared keyword, close variants are acceptable. 3, what does it say? It says, sir, the phrases that contain each word of your keyword, such as in general, in any order, have the ability to trigger your phrase keyword. They have the ability to trigger your phrase keyword. The question, kids, so does it mean that something can be added to my word and trigger it? It definitely can trigger it, yes. Now another discussion is whether this action will definitely be displayed, etc., which I don't want to get into, but yes, it can trigger it. Okay, now kids, look. The first phrase is written as professional dishwasher repairman. I have both dishwasher and repairman. But between the repairman that the user has worked on and my repairman, there's a space difference. It says, sir, close variant, fire this. It has come in between and added the word professional. My question to the kids is, does it contain all the words that make up your keyword? I see it has repairman and dishwasher. Yes, correct. A lowercase s has been added at the beginning. It even said the repairman's number, for example, could have been the professional dishwasher repairman's number. Does it have all the words exactly? Are all of them underlined? Or are all the words? Does it have your keyword within itself? I see it has a dishwasher repair job. Yes, that's right. This search term also has the ability to file you. Well, let's move on to broad match, guys. In broad match, first of all, we again identify it from its appearance in the keyword and negative keyword. Well, broad match. No, they have brackets and double quotation marks. Now, write dishwasher repair service, whether in Persian or in other languages. Search terms that in any way. This means that any elements, whether they are in the form of words, phrases, or even entire sentences that are enclosed within parentheses, whether in writing, meaning, concept, or user performance, are intrinsically linked to the keyword you are focusing on. These elements possess the potential to activate or bring attention to your keyword, thereby enhancing the overall understanding and engagement with the content. Guys, for example, if my keyword is dishwasher repair, and the user searches for error F284.51, dishwasher 450 Bosch. Suppose this is for a washing machine. If the user searches, your search is this error. Even if you want to write it as error FTWZ 5.4.8.1, which is Bosch, can it trigger my dishwasher repair keyword? Yes, it can. I said as long as it is related in any way, write it. Note that in this section, typing is not important at all. Written communication is not important. So the metro also means that communication is not just written. In other words, if I put it this way, it's better to say it this way. And having keywords, in fact, the words that make up the keyword in your search are not mandatory. Let me say again, I'm emphasizing. And having the words that make up your keyword in your search is not mandatory. So it might not make sense to understand it. Well, for example, look guys, someone has searched for washing machine technician below. I said in my search, guys, does this have the capability to find a dishwasher repairman? In my opinion, yes, it does. It might even be that a user searches for Bosch dishwasher repairs. In my opinion, it does trigger related results. Let me put it this way. If the search term smells like your keyword, it might trigger. Let's continue with Bosch. I didn't say they are the same. If the search term smells like your keyword, it might trigger. How does it know? Guys, it's from machine learning. Google itself has been doing it for over 20 years on an enormous volume of searches or massive data. What is the user's behavior? What suggestions should it give them? So, pay close attention to what I'm saying. Google is learning, and it learns this. So, remember those initial graphs in broad terms, and since we wrote it, the targeting is weaker. For example, now the broad terms are more extensive. They remain in place and don't interfere with that. And here in Persian, English, and other languages, people have said that practically their broad match doesn't differ. Their broad match doesn't make a difference. The fundamental difference is in the exact phrase, which I will discuss later. I emphasize derived keywords. I say, guys, this is the essence. So it gives off the scent of the keyword, even if it doesn't contain the keyword itself. It might trigger the ad. Is this clear? Okay. Guys, I'm talking about broad match modifiers. I'll give you examples later. But I want you to write down a note. First, please write BMM in parentheses. Secondly, the point is that broad match modifiers, in any situation where the keyword is generally broad, range from 1 to this to all. Plus, was it attached to the words? We used to call this BMM. Exact match, phrase match, and broad match. Guys, again, since I have a keyword, I'm talking about it, my work can recognize from the appearance of that word that it's something specific, okay? Now look at my keyword. Now. Mowing service, meaning lawn mowing services. Guys, if my keyword is to be in broad match, it looks like this, bare and over. Phrase match has double quotes on both ends. If it is to be exact match, it has brackets on both sides. This is in terms of appearance. Now let's check again to see which terms have the capability to trigger it. Guys, let's move on to how they work. First, if you agree, guys, if my keyword, which is the same lawn mowing service, is exact match, meaning imagine it has brackets on both sides, we have matched this keyword. I want to see which terms have the capability to trigger it. Write it down, guys, in the languages of non-Persian speaking countries. In parentheses, non-Persian. Only and only ma, whether it's exact phrase or broad. Match in keyword. Matching depends on the meaning in parentheses context. Keyword matching types such as exact match, phrase match, and broad match are crucial in determining how your keywords trigger ads. The context, which is the surrounding information and situation, plays a vital role in this process. For example, an exact match means the search query must match the keyword exactly, while a broad match allows for variations and related searches. So now, what does it say in exact match? It says if the search term, in terms of meaning, gives exactly the same meaning as the keyword, no more, no less, exactly the same meaning as the keyword, it says same meaning. This is exactly to make it clear. In your mind, please write same meaning. So if it gives exactly the same meaning, it has the capability to trigger. For example, if you search for the same thing in Iran, where the intention is exactly the same word, what is its meaning naturally? Does the keyword necessarily have to be in the search term? It doesn't really need to include the words, it just needs to ensure that the essence is the same in terms of meaning. It should be identical. So nothing should be added or omitted. Well, if we ourselves are clear on that, then it's okay. Now, look guys, there's another example given. Grass cutting service. Certainly good. It's exactly the same meaning. Nothing is added or missing. In terms of meaning, they don't actually differ from each other. It has exactly the same meaning. It says if your keyword, which is the lawn mowing service, is enclosed in double quotes like this and becomes a phrase match, which search terms have the ability to trigger your keyword. Remember that 7. They have the ability to trigger your keyword. We will write its definition together once more, kids. This is in various non-Persian languages. I'm specifically saying, please don't make a mistake. And I'm only defining the exact keyword, mishtab. It says the user's search must definitely include meaning. What does include meaning mean? It means that the user's search should contain the meaning of your keyword within it. It can have some other things added to it, but I should be able to see that piece of meaning. Remember, in Persian, we used to say the words must be there, right? But now I'm saying it should include meaning. If it's lawn mowing service, someone might search for lawn mowing service near me, where the exact words are present and it's clearly include meaning. Now look, it says hire company to mow lawn. What does that mean? It means I hire a company to mow the lawn. So what was my keyword in terms of the meaning of lawn mowing services? Does it include its meaning? Yes. Well, or another one wrote landscaping service to cut grass. Guys, here it exactly includes the same meaning again, but it's talking about green space. It says green space services to cut grass. Does that meaning of landscaping service, which is lawn mowing services, appear within it? I don't care about its meaning in relation to its words at all. Do you see its meaning? Yes, I see its meaning. So guys, this headline has the ability to trigger our keyword phrase. Now guys, if we set this keyword as a broad match, how would that be? Look down, meaning there's nothing on either side of it, just as you see it. The phrase should be on both sides. Double quotation marks would come for exact match. Brackets should come on both sides. And in broad match, it says it should be the same word. Guys, how does your keyword work in non-Persian languages? In broad match. It says, look, the user search should be related. Give it a sniff completely. Remember, I said that in fact, broad match in Persian is like stitching the language. It doesn't make a difference. In its keyword match, it says it should be related. For example, it might even hit something like natsa, I don't know, cutting, grass machine, for instance, or it might hit landscape design. Well, in terms of meaning, related also means related meaning. Eh? Kids, it should be connected to it in terms of meaning. I don't know. All these aspects should be connected to each other. It doesn't matter whether the word is there or not. Even in the Persian language, it is becoming more precise in this regard, maturing in the sense that it is moving towards meaning. Don't be surprised if you see later that it is gradually behaving more meaningfully, acting like the English language. However, it is still a long way from happening, but nonetheless, be aware. So the difference between these two in the Persian language and other languages is that in Persian, in the exact and phrase states, it was dependent on typing. Exact meant exactly no less, no more. And phrase meant that the words should be there. But they could be in a different order. In non-Persian languages, it focused on meaning. Exact included meaning. Phrase considered meaning. And related was considered in broad. Guys, let's look at a few examples again regarding these three terms. Look on the left, guys. Broad match is my keyword. How did I know it was broad? I don't care about the text above it. How do I understand it? From its appearance, guys. Even if 1,000 people come and say, for example, I don't know, Sarah, well, it's meaningless. They say its appearance is saying hafeze. Okay. So I'm identifying it by its appearance. Just once, low carb diet plan. Well, guys, they're saying, oh, what terms can cause this keyword to trigger and display your ad? Low carb free foods. Guys, because it's not important to me anymore whether the words are there or not. First of all, this is a non-Persian language. So the presence or absence of words is not important to us at all. Low carb diets. Well, the words themselves are nothing, and diets are there too. Chape. And in terms of meaning, it's very related. For example, low calorie recipes. Well, guys, in terms of meaning, it captures it as related. And so on. Okay. So guys, I had a keyword that was Brad, and it was in a non-Persian language, which is not very important to me right now. And it says it should be related, have a connection, and show its scent. Okay. For example, if someone typed health food, could they find this keyword? Guys, they could definitely find it. Okay. Let's give an example related to that Brad thing I mentioned to you, which has increased and so on. Up to this point, we have learned, guys, we saw how they are operating in the keyword, how it is working, whether it's exact phrase or broad. And we even learned what the old definition of broad modifier was and how it looked. Guys, what did the old broad modifier say? It said that it was broad, but it could include from one to all the words within the keyword, and we would actually specify that we wanted searches that were related, but it would include those specifications in any order. Now it might include one word, or it might include 10, right? Now guys, look at what happens. This was the old ISO way. On the left side is the before, and on the right side is the after. In the past, we had a freeze, or these circles were exact phrase, broad match modifier, and finally, the big circle was brought now you say I have a phrase match. And then a broad. Do you see that dotted line? That dotted line is the old broad match modifier. It wants to see the search queries or the search terms. In the past, in what situation could they file these? Guys, look, the keyword moving here then suddenly moving services invoice in Boston. What's the mistake I understood from its appearance? Or moving services invoice in Boston. Guys, all the words have a plus sign. This is also an old model of broad match modifier filing. Well, for the modifier that you are seeing, please pay attention. Right now, in this section, I am comparing, see, the old phrase match with the new one. Pay attention. I am comparing the old phrase match with the new one in this section. And what has happened to the old match? Well, now the title of the topic is clear. This phrase match in the old state used to cover this much, and the same phrase match in the new state is covering this much. I will do a review in my mind, of the phrase match in the new state. How does it work? It says, sir, you include it, okay, I'm fine with that. But in the old way, please write it, but freeze it. How did it work in the old way? 2 points, kids, pay attention. I still say at the beginning, sir, don't mix it up. What did freezing it in the old way say? It said, look, the text, you specified as a keyword inside double quotes. I consider it as a block. You can't break it down. You can't insert a series of words in between. Even in the Persian model now, in freezing it like this, you can't break it down or add a few things in between. What does it say? What did it say? In the old freezing model, it said, look, I consider moving services invoice in Boston as a whole without any kind of break. We should consider it as a block of wood. We should see it inside the user's search. We shouldn't break it down. What does that mean? Does it mean the user could search like this? I'll say it again. What does that mean? It means the user could search the best moving services NYC to Boston. Well, they see that block. Look at it in its own example. Affordable moving services NYC to Boston. Do you see that moving services NYC to Boston as a block? A C has been placed at the beginning, guys. In the old state, this phrase match had the ability to trigger with this search. Now let's look at it in the new state. What does the new state say? It says, sir, include meaning. Well, I can see exactly one piece, and there's an affordable as well. So it's completely clear that it includes meaning. So my new phrase match works on it. Now let's move forward again. It says NYC corporate moving services to Boston. This is the Boston bus service. Guys, in the old state, would my phrase match moving services NYC to Boston be seen as a block in this search term, NYC corporate moving services to Boston? No, it was broken up, you see. It was broken up and even rearranged, meaning it wasn't seen as a block. Who could have fired this before? You see what kind of modifier it has. Can you continue? Even before that. It says that the modifier on the right side, which is written up there, can file it. It has moving. It has services. It has to. It has Boston. It has NYC. In any order, it has a corporate. Guys, I'm reviewing the modifier. How did it work in the past? What did it say? It said, look, that condition must definitely be included now that it has tagged everything. Right. So practically, it's saying all these words in any order should be in the safe for you, and I'll file it. Now look again. There's invoicing. There's moving. There's service. There's to. There's Boston. And even a word has been added in between. This is arranged in any order. In the past, phrase match, it didn't have the capability to file, and broad match would file it. Now my question is, whether it's the broad match or the phrase, their functionality has now become the same. So, does the new phrase match have the ability to file? How should I see it? It says, sir, it must include meaning. Guys, NYC corporate moving services to Boston. What does it mean semantically? It says a company, actually in NYC, New York City, that provides moving services to Boston. Is it include meaning? Yes, it's completely clear. So the new phrase match does have the capability to file. This means that this keyword can trigger your new phrase match under the title of moving services to Boston, or for the old match, it can even trigger without being touched. Now it's considered a phrase. Let's move on to the next keyword. The keyword has become moving services in Boston, in NYC, which doesn't make sense. It says services are actually moving. Let's not say services are actually transit. Let's say, well, moving services that were triggered from Boston to NYC. Let's look at the old and new modes. In the broad modifier mode, it could trigger, meaning its broad modifier word would trigger them. Why? Because again, it has moving, it has service, it has NYC, it has to, and it has Boston, albeit in a different order. But my question is, now can this old broad match, which has aged and been frozen, or even the upper freeze you see in the image, trigger it? What happens? I check again whether the meaning of your keyword is present in the text. Has the meaning changed at all? The freeze match no longer has the capability to cover this. So, who can capture this? Remember the circles exact phrase, broad modifier, and broad. Emphasize, but we no longer have broad modifier. Exact phrase and broad, however, the phrase has expanded, inflated, and can cover a larger volume. So this gives you the tomatoes, it gives you the last circle. In this special case, it moves towards broad, meaning your broad keyboard can negate it. Everything we've learned is related to keyword match types. Its performance is different. Let me tell you right here, in negative keywords, from the past until today, we haven't had anything called a broad match modifier. So practically, it's been exact phrase and broad. You might wonder here what the differences are between them. And why the performance of keywords are, don't forget, in both Persian and non-Persian, but in negative keywords, we don't have this distinction anymore. We only understand and use exact, phrase, and broad for handling. Let's not forget that close variants only make sense in keywords, meaning the connection between the user's search and their keyword.